Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, eXp Realty family and real estate industry friends. Happy Friday. Welcome to eXp Realty's live stream. Thank you for being here. I want to acknowledge you. If you're live with us in the Metaverse Auditorium, thank you for being in eXp World. Please use the chat box. We've got so many folks in here that we can interact with together. It's a great opportunity to connect to different folks in the Metaverse Auditorium. Also want to thank you if you're watching live on the YouTube. We're so glad to have you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and most importantly, I think, invite the other agents that you know to subscribe to the channel. Whether they're eXp family or not, it does not matter. Glenn Sanford and our whole company is on a mission to elevate the entire industry any way we can. And I think the YouTube channel is one of the greatest opportunities to share the training, the education, the information, all the live streams that are happening throughout the week. eXp celebrates diversity in so many ways. We've got so much great stuff. I think the YouTube channel is one of the hidden gems right now across the eXp Realty ecosystem. So please subscribe. If you need the link, ask in the chat box in eXp World. We'll get it for you. All right. So welcome. Thank you for being here. If you're a regular, you know what we're about to do. We call this the Connected Podcast, a safe space to embrace your power. We have an amazing special guest on. If you're here for the first time and you're showing up early for the big agent meeting, you're in the right place. It starts here at the top of the hour in just a little bit. But we're going to kick off with your mindset prompt first. This is just something to get your wheels turning, get you going in the right direction. So I want you to just take a quick breath, exhale it out, just stop what you're doing for a moment, pause and reflect. And if you're bold enough or brave enough, would love to have you share it with us in the comments in the eXp World or on the YouTube comment stream. I want you to complete the following prompt right now. Some of the biggest things going on in my life are. Some of the biggest things going on in my life are. And hopefully, as you start to fill that in, you're going to get one thing. And then probably another thing. And maybe you got your top two or three. I want you to keep writing. Don't stop. Because the truth and the reality is, as you start to think about this, you're going to realize that there are a lot of big, amazing, wonderful, challenging, tough, exciting things going on in your life. You might get to 2 or 3 or 4. And once you think you're done, I'm going to ask my favorite question. Every coach should have this in their bag. The follow-up question is, what else? What else is going on in your life? And take just a few seconds to start to fill in the picture. Because if you're like me and anybody else, it's all life. It can be a big blur. It can feel like a lot. Or sometimes maybe you're stuck and you're only focused on one thing. And if you just expand your mindset a little bit, you realize there's so many other wonderful things that are happening for you all around you. So the big things happening in my life are. Those are your morning mindset prompts, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Connected Podcast. Thank you for being here. We do this every single Friday before the big agent meeting. We call it a safe space to embrace your power. I truly believe that powerful energy is some of the most important energy to learn how to access. So find the people, find the things, find the conversations, the books, the podcasts, the experiences that make you feel powerful, and do more of those. And speaking of feeling powerful, we have an amazingly powerful guest on today. This gentleman is a rock star real estate entrepreneur, an uber amazing human being, a family man, the president of eXp Realty Canada. I want to bring on my guy, John Sy. John, good morning and welcome.
Thank you for that introduction. I'm truly honored and privileged to be here to be able to contribute to eXp agents and everybody in the real estate industry. Welcome.
John, well, we are honored to have you, man. I love how you think and how you approach life and how you show up everywhere you go. You know, when we were preparing to talk today, I just asked you what was going on in your world, and you gave me a lot. Probably like the people filling in the mindset prompts, right? There's a lot that comes up, but then the way you put a bow on that conversation was you called it all life, man. So take us into your life a little bit, John. Give us a glimpse of what's going on and how you're thinking and approaching all these different things.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much. I was making notes while you were giving the agents prompts as well. I wrote down debt, mortgage, being president of eXp Canada, my sales team, which I'm rebranding. And what else? My girls, who are going to be 5 and 2 years old, and then my wife. You know, there's lots going on in life right now. My father-in-law just fell ill last week, had a stroke. And, it's not fun right now. Wife's taking care of the kids, taking care of me, and then taking care of dad. So it's a lot on us. And, all within that, staying grateful every single day for the opportunity. We all have problems every single day, guys. We're either coming from a problem, in a problem right now, or going towards a problem. But here's the thing, when we solve problems, we level up. So look at problems every single day as an opportunity, right? And 99% of our problems that you're dealing with right now are simply first world problems. So if you really think about that, just be grateful and just have fun in the journey, right? And don't focus too much on the results. Don't focus too much on the destination, because what matters is the juice of today, the juice of now. So enjoy it, whatever you're going through.
Oh, John, thank you for giving us that message to kick us off, and sending love and healing energies to your family for everything that everybody's going through. And, big shout out and thank you to your amazing wife for being that supporting partner and leader and all the things for you and your family and everything. Wow. And what an amazing message. I want to start there, because I think that's a perspective, John, that probably not everyone up until this moment may have been holding, right? That you're either moving away from a problem, you're in a problem, or you're going towards a problem. Just that frame, I think, hopefully is a new perspective for somebody here. So let's start to bring some awareness to like those types of problems. And then I like that you call out that most of the problems that you see are actually opportunities in disguise, and they're not as major problems as you think they are. We tell a narrative around these problems that make them feel bigger. Is that true? Talk about just how you've come to believe and think the way you think about problems and opportunities.
Yeah. So it's nothing means anything until you put meaning into it. Right. So it's how you relate to the things that are happening. There's the what's so, in reality, what has actually happened. And there's the story that you attach to that. Right. So, I got bullied when I was young. And back then, I didn't have the awareness of myself. And that meant that I was no good, that I was not enough, that I would never have friends, and then that bled into my adult life. But I had some training, some landmark, Tony Robbins, Mike Ferry, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all that kind of good stuff. All the stuff that I read had me realize that that was all just a story. So every single day, we're telling ourselves stories about what has happened. What has happened is what's so. But what's so, we make up stories about it. So if we're going to make up stories about things, why not make up good stories about things? So the reason why I got bullied is because, the universe, God, wanted me to become a stronger person, right? The reason why my dad told me I was no good is for me to become a stronger son, a stronger human being, right? So you can use that as an opportunity to get stronger, or you can use that to kind of put yourself in a shell, in a box, which will keep you small. So it's all about how you're relating to those things that are happening. And everything is happening for you, not to you. I stole that from Tony Robbins, of course. So there's that, man. Yeah.
You hit me so hard with the narrative piece. And, I want to stop and get present for a moment to that feeling, John. Even as you were talking, a lot of us, whether we know it or not, subconsciously, we're replaying events of our past, right? Those past problems all the time. We're replaying things we went through as children. We're replaying things we went through in our teenage years, in our young adult years, formative years. We're replaying moments and experiences. And that was, what did you say? That's so. Those happened. Those are real, right? That happened. But then we have this other set of feelings, the story that's associated with it, right? This other meaning we assign to that. And man, we have the power. Are you telling me we have the power to reassign a new story, right? And how does that work? Like, to get yourself to start to believe that over the old narrative?
Well, I think it's taking full responsibility of everything and anything in your life. 100% responsibility. And, it's either you're a victim or you're a victor, right? So something happens to you, right? You can either point fingers at other people, or you can say, hey, you know what? It was on me. And when you're pointing fingers to other people, look at how many fingers are pointing back at you. You're pointing 2 at them, but 3 back at you.
That's right.
So if you can think about that and just say, hey, you know what? I take full responsibility of what has just happened. And if you do that, you're in full control of your experience instead of being out of control and pointing fingers everywhere saying, I'm the victim, the woe is me. Which one do you think benefits you as a real estate salesperson?
It's the control. It's taking responsibility. It's funny. Oh man, like oh, I don't think I've heard responsibility positioned in such a way where it gifts you the powerful feeling of control. I think that's a feeling that many of us quest for, and I know personally, and thinking about friends and family, some of the responses and reactions that I'm least proud of are in moments when I feel something's out of control, right? I feel worry for my family. I feel something's at risk or something's in danger because it feels out of control. But the reminder that I have personal responsibility there, right? Like I have personal responsibility for any and everything that I'm playing a part in that's going on in my world. And thinking about it like that, gives a lot of power back, because I think most of us are questing to control what we can control. But the way you just described it to me, John, gives a little bit of extra meaning to that phrase, because I think people are out there looking to control everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes still finding fault and blame, in others. So with that extra gift of power, like if people put on that lens that John just puts on, how do you approach that responsibility in controlling some of the things that you're involved in, even when it might not seem like you have control?
Yeah. It's the power to be able to control what you can control. And it's also the power of recognizing what you cannot control,
Mm.
and the wisdom to actually be aware of it, because we cannot control interest rates, guys. We cannot control inflation. We cannot control even the real estate market, although realtors think we may have a hand in it. No, we don't. But what we can control is our mindset, what we think about things, what we think about people. What we can't control is working on our skills daily. What we can't control is prospecting. What we can't control is following up with our clients. These are the controllables that we can control. So daily, I just focus on what I can control, which is working on my mindset and my skills and the daily actions. And if I just put in the honest day of work every single day, I know that I have no regrets, and then I have to let go of everything else. That's what you can control. If you're a control freak, control that. Right? But control yourself from wanting to control the uncontrollables.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's where, at least again, just speaking from personal experience, that's where you can run into distraction, right? John, is like when you start chasing that stuff that you think like, okay, if I can just make this happen this way, then I can do the other things I want to do. You put some things aside, you go in this other direction. What are your thoughts and experience, or maybe your relationship to distraction? Again, you're balancing and juggling so many amazing things. How do you handle keeping yourself away from chasing all those other things, again, that are maybe outside your control?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And, we talked about this last week in the Toronto event, is eliminate all distractions at all cost. So real estate success and success in general, it's not so much about what you do. It's rather a lot about what you don't do that you shouldn't be doing and then you're doing. Right. So recognize what are your distractions, write them down, and be like, okay, well, are these the things that are serving my business and helping me go towards freedom, or it's bogging me down in a box, right? So if you can recognize those things and just do the things that move the conversation forward. So every single day I have some lists, right? It's your must do's. Every single day as a real estate salesperson, I must prospect. I must follow up with my leads. I must go and take listings. I must, go and negotiate contracts. If I do the must do's in the real estate day, I'm good to go. And then as a father, a must do is spend time with my kids. As my husband, must do is to make my wife happy, right? If I do those must do's every single day, I know my day is good. The next list is should do's. The should do's are after your must do's, but it doesn't. So a lot of people do the should do's, right? And then they forget the must do's. So that's when they get kind of confused about. So that might be a distraction. And the next list is do when you have time. Those are the things that you might want to just say, you know what, forget it. I'm never going to do it. or I'm going to delegate it so it gets done, right? But every single day, if you can do your must-dos, you win.
How long is that list typically for you? Is it little things? Is it big things? What are the needle movers that you're like focused on in those must-dos? Are they concepts or are they actual tactics?
Yeah, so every single month, I'm super archaic. This is a business plan on paper. These are my action plans for the month,
Love it.
that I'm tackling. And then these are the personal goals that I'm tackling for the month. And it's just short list of a couple of things. Don't try to tackle 10 at a time. You just get overwhelmed and completely give up.
Well, I'm going to reframe something here for you, and I want to take the conversation in this direction if you're open to it. So you made a joke, and knowing you a little bit, like you've got a little bit of self-deprecating humor, you've got a lot of humility, you're very humble, and so you said, "I'm archaic," and you held up a piece of paper. And I'm not maybe great in my language and arts, but I think archaic means like rooted in old or that sort of thing. I don't view that as archaic at all. The identity I would put on you, just when I look at you, John, I want to acknowledge you for a minute. You look sharp, you look professional, you look prepared, you look ready, you look confident, you look healthy, you look strong, you look all these things. And so when I see you hold up that paper, there's a part of me that's like, oh, that is so clear. You're very clear. That is so organized. That is so, I don't want to say simple in a derogatory way, like so simple, right? It's so approachable to have a piece of paper with a planner, an agenda, a list, simple goals. I think that's an identity, John, most people would love to put on. They'd love to be that prepared, that thorough, that clear. So when it comes to getting clarity, being clear, having the identity of knowing what you want to focus and getting your must-dos put together, what advice would you have for people if their identity is maybe a little bit more chaotic or a little bit less clear, a little bit more unsure? What would you say to those folks?
Yeah, if you're unsure, I would write down 20 reasons why you would want to become successful. And through the exercise of actually journaling that out, you'll get a lot of clarity, right? And a lot of times when you write the 20 reasons, the first 5 to 10 reasons are going to be like, okay, well, I want a nice car. I want a nice house. I want a beautiful wife, or I want a beautiful husband. Once you get down to the last 5, Kirtus, you really get deep on truly what you want and why you want to do this. And when you can get clear on your why you're doing this, you will not be unfocused. So just a little bit vulnerable here. My dad, Kirtus, in 2013, he got sick. And little did I know, he had already had, high blood pressure, heart disease, all through that. And he had a quadruple bypass surgery. 1 week after he had the quadruple bypass surgery, successful surgery, he sat me down. It's 10 o'clock at night. He said to me, held my hand, and he said, looked me right in the eye, and he said, the Sai family is yours. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. My big brother is 57, second brother 56, and then my sister 53, and I'm 43. So what is he even talking about, right? And I said, you're joking. I will see you tomorrow, and we'll see you at home next week. So he passes away 3 a.m. that next morning. So let me ask you guys this question. Do you think I would ever let my dad down? No. And if you can get your why so clear and channel that energy into whatever you do every single day, you will not be unfocused. There's no way I'm unfocused. Now, mind you, there are other motivators and inspirations as you go along in your journey. You want to buy the flashy things, you want to buy the house. Yes, those are all good. But what's deeply rooted in you is your why, and that has to be internal. So I hope that makes sense, and do that exercise.
So much sense. I mean, and thank you for sharing vulnerably, man. I have a tremendous relationship with my father, and he's approaching his 70th, year coming up. And that story just was very touching. So thank you for sharing. And I I love to acknowledge our guests when I can. You are absolutely, living through what I believe your father asked you to do, and just so happy for you to step into that role And what an amazing conversation. And I think that puts a frame around, a story and a context, John, around the exercise, right? So for everybody out there, like pause, go back and watch this again, do whatever you need to do to complete that exercise. And I know from the experiences of writing things down myself, it gets clearer and clearer the harder it gets, right? Like when you get to the end, you ask yourself, what else? I'm on number 17. Give me 3 more. Like they start to get so good. And if you're suggesting, John, that is the grounding tool to get clarity and get focus, everybody, then why wouldn't you go do that exercise today? I think that is tremendously powerful. So I love it, John. Thank you for sharing. That's a great exercise. And speaking of, clarity and focus and ambition and opportunity and things that are exciting, I know when we talked, of course, you're newly in your role as president of eXp Realty Canada. I know you're so passionate for what this opportunity means for real estate entrepreneurs around the globe. Talk to us a little bit about the big vision of what's coming up from a work standpoint and where you're going, what we're pushing towards in Canada and everywhere that you're touching.
Hashtag road to 10K.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go. Right now we're at 5,970 agents, and our goal is to get to 10,000 by the end of the year. It is a BHAG, right? A big big
hairy, I think, audacious goal.
Yeah, that's right. So but the thing is, like, keep that vision in mind, but it doesn't take place in the daily actions that we do. So every single day we are supporting our brokers, we are supporting our agents, we are supporting all of our staff to make it truly agent-centric, right? To work on onboarding, to work on new tools, to work on new resources, to make our agents' lives easier, our businesses thriving. So, again, like every single day, I'm 7 o'clock in the morning until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, back to back Zoom calls and Google Meets and Microsoft Teams, the whole 9 yards. I'm doing it. Because I want to contribute to other agents and I want to contribute to eXp Realty. What Glenn has given us has absolutely changed the trajectory of my business and my life. So I can't say enough about it. And here's my opportunity. See, opportunity to contribute. You can, Glenn called me, I think March the 7th, Kirtus. And I was just getting my haircut, and obviously something's going on in Canada. We need new leadership. I told myself in January of this year, I said, I must step up for the Agent Advisory Council, and whatever they need me to do, I will do it. And Glenn calls me. He's like, hey, John. Hey, how are you? I'm good, Glenn. How are you? He said, well, we're looking for essentially leadership, and it's the president role. Would you be available? And that was it.
That's awesome.
And then I said, put me in, coach, and we'll figure it out later. Here I am.
What a mentality. What a mindset. I remember Glenn talked about when he jumped back in the CEO role of eXp Realty, he talked about having a day one mentality, right? Like first day on the job. And I just love your approach, right? Put me in. How can I serve? And I like that you brought us down from vision all the way to contribution, day-to-day tactical execution. I also believe, John, that's an area where most entrepreneurs can get tripped up, and really any human being can get tripped up, is going from that big vision to simplifying it down, distilling it down to a goal, right? But then once they have that goal, you even talked about it earlier, sort of like detaching and releasing from being so focused on that goal and moving into the contribution, the value adds, the day-to-day tactic stuff. So for anybody who might be having trouble making that leap, John, what advice would you give them?
Making that leap of letting it go.
From starting that vision, like maybe they're stuck on like, I want to do this, or I want my life to be this way. And then they maybe haven't even set a real goal for that, right? Quantified. Or maybe they're on the goal piece and every day they're like, oh, I'm not closer to my goal, but they're forgetting to contribute, sort of tactically on the day-to-day. What would you tell them to do?
Yeah. So bringing it down from the big vision to, well, what do I do today? Right. And to me, jumping into this president role was just like that. It's like, well, how am I going to get to 10,000? Just, okay, here you go. But hire a coach.
Ooh.
Hire a coach, get a mentor, right? And be a demand for curiosity. And just always be asking questions. No question is the dumb question. The dumb question is the question that you never ask. Right. So I think for me to step into this role, I got on calls with Glenn, with Michael Valdez, who is my big brother, my mentor. and he just gave me homework. And it was as easy as that. So if you're in the real estate space or whatever business that you're in, hire a coach. If you don't know the how-to, there are a million coaches out there teaching you the how-to, but you got to get so clear on the vision and the why and the what that you want, and then the how will show up. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's beautiful. Makes a ton of sense. So we've got a short couple of minutes with the audience, John. What I want to do here now is rapid fire, kind of 3 questions. They're all sort of related. And I just want you to give us whatever comes up for you when I ask those questions.
Sure.
I believe there's a quote, and I'm not going to try and quote it, but the gist of the quote is that the skills of the future that are going to be most valuable to us as human beings are going to be the skills of learning, unlearning, and relearning.
Wow.
So I want to ask you right now, what are you learning currently?
What I'm currently learning right now is to have more emotional intelligence.
More emotional intelligence. I love that. And team, what I'm doing for them, John, is I'm giving them your homework, right? You got Coach John in the house right now. You've got a mentor that's doing the things you want to do, and he's wearing the identities you want to wear. So he tells you, go get more emotionally intelligent. That's your assignment. And the next one, John, I want to ask you. So that's what you're learning. Relearning is kind of like maybe we thought we knew something or we had it figured out or down, but we realized through some moment or experience, we still have something to learn there. What are you relearning right now?
Learning refinances, learning finances again, relearning finances and money management. So I'll say this: humility. When you're up, be humble. When you're down, be hopeful and optimistic. What happened in 2022, 2021, Kirtus? We made a lot of money. Most money I've ever made in real estate. I thought I had made it. Once you think that thought, get ready to get hit. Right. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. Mike Tyson. I got punched in the face because we made, multiple 7 figures. And then I started spending money and throwing money at problems, and then hiring this coach, that coach, whatever. And buying cars, buying houses. And next thing you know, my accountant comes to me, John, please remit $380,000 into your tax account. I said, Olivia, I don't have the money. If you don't be humble, you will get humbled. So relearn that.
Whew, that's huge. That's huge. That's a reminder right now for every single one of us, John. Last but not least, one sentence to what are you unlearning right now, letting go of?
Unlearning my identity that I put myself in a box of.
Get out of that box.
Get out of that box, because you are always changing. And if you are not growing, you're dying. So I've already shed the skin of John Tsai from yesterday.
That's right.
So every day you are a new person, and your identity changes every single day, right? So don't be attached to who you are. Don't be attached to looking good. Don't be attached to no change. The only constant in life is change. So get good at that and unlearn being yourself and relearn being a new you every single day, which is only 1% better.
John, thank you for showing up as a new you today. Thank you for showing up in so many ways, in so many places for this family and this ecosystem. We thank you for your leadership and for your humility and for your transparency here today. This was a gift. I really believe, John, we're one connection away in life from a totally different life. It might be a person, it might be an idea, a coach, a mentor, a message like today. So everybody, that's what Connected is all about. John, I want to thank you for being a guest. You've got just a short couple of minutes before the big agent meeting starts. Go refresh your coffee, get on the YouTube stream, text somebody. John, thanks for being here. We'll see you again. See everybody next week.
Thanks for having me, guys. Make it a great day.
Good morning. My name is Russ Laggan. I am your host for the Big Agent Meeting. Happy Friday. It is Friday, the week of 4th of July. Just for you guys, I threw on a little red, white, and blue. Just want to be a little patriotic since it is 4th of July week. I hope you guys had a great holiday. I got to spend some time with family, my wife and my wife's family over the holiday, and I had an absolute ball. I even got a little bit of downtime. If you guys noticed, last week I actually did the intro, but I wasn't there. I was on vacation, taking a couple of days off, recharging. Remember to take best care of the people that you love the most. Take the downtime. Be focused. Be present with the people you love, because that's way more important than most of the other stuff that we're doing that's distracting us right now. So this week, Friday, 4th of July week, we've got Thad Fisher, who is the VP of Growth for Global. I cannot wait to introduce you to that guy. Brand new with the company, just getting his feet on the ground, and I want to make sure you guys get to know him. He's going to be a great asset for our company. And then I'm going to be talking to Kim Frazier out of Washington State, one of the top agents out of Washington State from her previous brokerage. She's been with us for a little while. And then, by the way, she had me in town and introduced me to this other guy named Chad Hedrick, 5-time Olympic medalist Chad Hedrick, including a gold in speed skating. We're going to be talking to them, talking about business, how to take your business to the next level. And I cannot wait to get kicking and rolling on this party here today. So happy Friday. Let's kick it off with Thad Fisher. Why don't you throw him on in here for me? Thad, welcome, buddy.
Thanks, Russ. It's great to be here. Thanks for the invitation in.
Happy Friday. Welcome to Big Agent Meeting. And this is where the first section is where I introduce one of the leaders of the company. Make sure people get to know you and who you are and where you come from and what you're doing. So give me a quick sketch. Like, where did you come from? You've been here, what, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, a year?
4 weeks as of yesterday. But yes, we move very fast, I could tell you. So it's been a lot of fun.
Longest 6 months of your life.
Yeah, we move fast and we think big for sure.
Anytime you start a new role, I know you've done this a couple of times. I know when I did this and moved back to EXP, it was like, oh my goodness, you're drinking out of a fire hose. And there's so many amazing things going, so many amazing different directions. But you've joined a company with a bunch of really killer leaders, which means you got to have some killer instincts in you too. So welcome to the party. Welcome to the top. We're killing, crushing, destroying, taking over the real estate industry. Like, give me a quick sketch of where you came from and what you did before this.
Yeah, of course. So I live in Denver, Colorado, 1. 2, I found myself actually in prop tech working with Zillow. And for Zillow, building out a bunch of various roles as a sales representative all the way through the strategic nature and building out their enterprise sales org. And that led to the overall development of Zillow Flex, which I could say, you know, it's a baby of mine and many others, but it's also one that, you know, I know many folks here take part in. So I really hope it's treating everyone well. I then actually met Michael Valdez from the likes of Realogy. I ended up being a vice president of global development for one of the sister brands. And that was extremely exciting. That was my first true taste of traditional real estate development and growth globally. So I had a great deal of fun working with Pam Liebman there, and finally actually ended up developing as well another platform as part of what is now known as Anywhere Real Estate's lead group. So that was really cool. It was very fast paced as well. Certainly nothing like an AXP, I would say. Very unique, and that led to my dive into technology. So that's where I went into the conversational intelligence space, the social intelligence space, and then just before I arrived here, I was leading a global organization as part of the Internet of Things. It's a company that's developing really cool things all across the landscape for supply chain. So,
all right. So you use a couple of weird words that I don't understand, like conversational development. Like, what is that?
So it's looking at general emotional sentiment. When you look at an advertisement, people want to know in these companies how you feel about it. So there's technology that can analyze that and look at what you feel.
Okay. All right. So, like, dude, you just blew my mind a little bit here. So, like, I'm talking like Matrix stuff. No, Matrix is old compared to that.
It was intense. It was a lot of fun. You know, getting to be at the forefront of it all with the likes of McDonald's and Volkswagen and all that stuff. That's what they're doing these days. So AI plays a big role in it all.
Yeah. So they're like, ba-da-ba-ba-ba. What's he feeling about that?
Loving it.
Loving it, right? And that's like perfect. Okay, good. Well, that makes more sense. So how does that translate? I mean, so you got some global experience, which is huge, right? Because that's like, I don't even know how to touch global. I mean, Michael's just a maniac and a baller and a great dude. And his breadth of knowledge is mind-boggling. And the global thing is a complete game changer, because all the rules that you think you know here, you just got to say, nope, don't assume anything, because there's some countries that don't require real estate licenses. I was like,
yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Portugal, really? But, so you've got to learn those things, right? And you already have some experience in that realm, which is great. Perfect. Makes perfect sense why you got the global gig. That's cool.
Yeah. No, it was exciting. I actually I ended up finding that there's this opportunity to join global in this role, and I knew Michael. I knew his style. I knew his work ethic. I knew Megan just from afar, actually, and I'm thinking these are the most innovative people in the industry. Now, where can I take my love for technology and bridge the gap with the likes of what real estate needs? And that's EXP. Yeah. So that's where I fell in love, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, because a lot of us that come into leadership roles, we have a lot of choices. And people are like, well, why did you choose here? And you just explained exactly why you chose here. You get to blend the real estate component, which you learned, and then the technology thing. I mean, dude, they're like, now I have to expect good things out of you.
I hope I can deliver. I expect to.
The cool part is you got a bunch of people around you, and I've already, I met you a couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago in DC, and you remember what I told you. Like, if you need anything at all, dude, you just reach out. I might not have any clue what you're asking me, but I might know who knows the answer to it. Because it really is a team sport in this leadership group. When we sit down and we collaborate on what we're doing and how we do things, we don't always get it right, but at least we'll put our heads together, and between the bunch of us, we can come up with something that's probably pretty good, which is pretty cool. I'm glad to have you on board for that. So that's fantastic.
Thank you.
So what are you seeing in global? 4 weeks in, what are you seeing in global? We're in what, 24 countries now?
I am seeing a startup that has the longest runway and most opportunity globally, and we are running so fast. 24 countries sounds like a lot. I want to see us in dozens and dozens more, just getting started. But so much opportunity, so many people across the landscape, EXP globally, especially in the States. Folks just want to grow. So that is going to be my role in making sure that we have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it is really interesting, because when you look at the trajectory of EXP and how EXP took off, it's kind of like, it kind of moves along, and it kind of hits that critical mass, and poof, next thing you know, it's a mushroom cloud, and it's just going all over the place. And there's so many of these small countries that haven't even hit that critical mass yet. I mean, that's super, super exciting when you see some of the runways on some of these countries. Like, how many realtors are there in India?
Oh gosh,
millions, right?
Yes.
Listen, people are talking about, like, how do we get to 500,000, Russ? I'm like, you know how many realtors are in India? You know how many realtors are in some of these other countries? So global is a great spot for expansion for us. So how are you going to dovetail the technology background that you have with that? Are there things you're looking at saying, hey, maybe we can massage that? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think, one of the cool things that was said before in a previous company, as well as I think even like a Steve Jobs have said it, is we want to press a button and cool stuff happens. And I think we can get to a place where we press a button and really cool stuff happens. And we have all the components available at our disposal as well to make it happen. So I feel as though that I can help streamline a lot of that on the global side. Maybe not press the button yet. I'm not that good, but I hope one day I can, and really help us sync the likes of which differentiates us, which is technology is really at the forefront of what makes EXP unique. So let's drive that as a huge point of advantage.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, because I jump into my EXP app on my phone a lot more now. Because one of the guys was like, you can do this in my EXP on your app. And I'm going, you can what? Like, I don't know everything, right? So you open the thing up. I'm like, this is way easier than what I was doing before. So it's literally they hit the button and make it easier. But like the new referral system in EXP, you can drop a referral right into my EXP app, and it makes it 1,000 times easier to do that referral. So you make a quick phone call, and then the referral paperwork's easy. within EXP, which I love. So there's a lot of that stuff that we can innovate. Can you imagine doing referrals cross country?
Oh yeah.
Multiple countries. I mean,
Oh yeah.
That's the next iteration, right? Because there's a lot of people moving to the U.S. So there's a lot
it's there. Some of it's already there. So it's just a matter of streamlining it, making sure we're all on the same page. And I'm so excited to really get to be a part of that. That journey is going to be amazing.
Yeah. So, well, Michael Valdez has already claimed Mr. Worldwide. I like to put on my pit bull glasses with my bald head and call myself Mr. Statewide. We're going to have to come up with some kind of name for you.
Oh, I hope I can live up to that. Yes.
One way or another, you're coming along on the trip. We'll have to find something. We'll add you to the boy band.
I love it. Let's do it.
Good. Well, Thad, it's a pleasure to meet you. I love having you on board. I love your spirit. I love your enthusiasm. I'm thrilled to have you on board. And now knowing what you know a little more, I'm even more excited to have you as part of the leadership team. So I want to say thank you for joining us, number one, and thank you for what you're going to do for this company. I'm super excited to watch you go. And of course, always here to help you out.
Oh, wonderful. It's a privilege to be here. Thanks for having me on.
All right, brother. See you soon. All right, there you go. Thad Fisher. Like, you guys ever walk into a room and you look around the room and you're like, these people are amazing. I feel that almost every time we get together with the top leadership of the company, there's a lot of amazing people in that room. And I wonder sometimes why they let me in. You know, you're in the right group when you're wondering why they let you in. At least I do sometimes. So leadership is taking its business to the next level. We've improved the leadership and changed the leadership and shifted the leadership to add the right people to work in today's market and the way things go. It's been a lot of fun to watch. So with that said, I've got a couple people coming up here that you guys are going to love. Two people that I fell in love with, Kimberly Frazier and Chad Hedrick. Why don't we just drop them both in here? We can introduce them. Kimberly, how are you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Good.
Great. Thanks for having
Chad,
me.
welcome to the party. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
So I met both of you guys. Kim asked me to come into town in Puyallup, Washington, right? And I always pause before I say it because I butchered that 17 different directions before I finally got it locked in, but I still have to pause to get it right. Puyallup. It looks like there's too many letters in there somehow, or they're in the wrong configuration. But she brings me into town, and then she introduces me to this guy, Chad Hedrick. And of course, you know, I give him a hard time and do what I normally do with everybody. And he and I hit it off. Chad, I think I'm going to consider you more of a friend now because, you know, when you give people a hard time, that's what happens. Camaraderie.
Yeah. Hey, let me just start off. Your humility and everything I watch. You're such an incredible part of this company, and your humility and your servant heart is really, really an asset for the company. So I just wanted to start with that.
Well, thank you very much for that. It's nice. Hold on. Yeah, get a little frog right there. It's nice when you're in an environment where people know you, appreciate you, and want you to be the best you, not be what they want you to be. They want you to be the best you, and they let me do that here a lot. Sometimes I go too far, but they let me do that a lot, which I love. So thank you for that. And it's just been a pleasure getting to know both of you guys because I like to surround myself with awesome people. And when I see awesome people, I'm like, come on, let's go. I'll show up for you guys every single time. So, you know, Chad knows I text him, he texts me back, boom, phone rings, I pick up if I can, right? So, and that's the way we roll. And I know that's how you guys build your business too. So Kim, give me a quick sketch of who you are in Washington State, because a lot of people don't know what Top Dog looks like that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So this is my 22nd year in real estate. I just started my second year at EXP this month. So super excited. Love the opportunity. I worked for a regional brokerage, John L. Scott, for 19 years. When I left the company, I was the number one agent. I did about 80 million my last year in production while I was there my first year over at EXP 2 years ago. Been there a long, long time. Top 1% of all realtors in the state and in the nation. Two-time ICON agent, currently number 2 in the state of Washington for production. And I was number 18 last year in the top 50 for EXP out of 87,000 agents.
All right. So let's insert one word. Wow.
Thank you.
Okay. So how many people do you have? You have 40 or 50 people in your group?
122 right now.
And in doing those transactions.
Oh, no, just me. And I have an assistant and my husband.
I knew that, but I know nobody else knows that. So you're like, okay, well, she's got 10 or 12 or 15 or 18 people, right?
No.
Let's be clear. No, just Just her and a couple of support staff people, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Amazing and interesting. Usually when somebody says 80 million, you're like, oh, what brokerage is that?
Yes.
Not
I
what
did 50
individual.
million last year, though, just to make it clear. That was 2 years ago to 80 million. Last year, I did 50 million in the shifting market. So
Oh, the
it
horror.
was down. So now, and it was irritating. I'm super competitive like Chad. So it's super annoying.
You know, guys, it's funny because you get an Olympic speed skater, and he shows up and he's faster than everybody in the planet but one person, and he's pissed he got silver. And I'm like, you're faster than everybody else but one person, and he's like, yeah, but I still want to beat that guy.
Yeah, I don't like being number 2 in Washington. I want to beat that guy, even though he's at EXP. I still want to beat him. No.
Yeah, so it's funny. So like some people would say like 50 million would be the dream, and you're like 50 million sucks. But it really does become a matter of perspective sometimes, right? Because it's a matter of where you're standing, what it looks like, for sure. So absolutely mind-boggling numbers across the board, which is part of the reason why you talk to a guy named Chad, and Chad's like, that girl is the real estate equivalent of an Olympic athlete. So Chad, quick story. Where'd you come from?
Yeah, so I grew up, my dad owned a roller rink here in Spring, Texas, just north of Houston. And I grew up with just a pocket full of quarters and roller skating 6 to 8 hours a day. As my family operated their business, I realized I had it was second nature to be an incredible skater. Skated all growing up, and then ended up moving to Salt Lake City, Utah in 2003 to try out for our Olympic ice speed skating team. Believe it or not, being from Texas, I qualified just before 2006, just 2 years after starting on the ice, and was fortunate enough over the next 2 Olympics to win 5 Olympic medals, 1 gold, 2 silver, and 2 bronze. And quite honestly, you could say anybody would think that would be my biggest feat or accomplishment in my life. But the process, once I accomplished that, the process that happened internally and how I was changed and becoming somebody with much more humility. I was somebody who was very arrogant when I was an athlete, never show weakness type attitude. Mm-hmm. And I went through a bit of an identity crisis. And really didn't know what I was going to do with my life after sports. Like you hear a lot of these other athletes, and somehow after floundering around with several different jobs, I ended up in real estate just over 7 years ago. And my wife had this crazy idea that I would start the Gold to Sold group. So here we are.
Yeah. So, man, there's so many great stories tucked in there that I've heard that I want to drag out, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too long. So suffice it to say, you played at a high level in one thing. Now, the problem is, and I introduced you to a guy named Don Miller, who was the jockey that won the Belmont Stakes, horse racing jockey. And he asked me, he's like, do you know anybody that's gone from being a professional athlete to being a real estate agent? And he looked me in the eye and he said, it's so much harder than I thought it would be. Because it's a really different skill set, and it really puts you out of your element. And the skills that you have there, the sense of drive, of course, is the same, but the sense of drive, you got to be driving it in the right direction.
Well,
so that's why I introduced to you.
Simply put, to be the best athlete in the world, it's all about yourself. Okay. To be the best in business and real estate, it's absolutely the opposite. It's all about everybody else.
Yes.
And so
yes,
we can talk about clients and what that means from that perspective. But since joining EXP just over 4 months ago or so, I've realized that the agents here are serving each other as well. And just in 4 short months, the amount of friends, the community that I have, the mentorship that I have through this company. I haven't been in this business over 20 years like Kim. I still have some things to learn, but I'll tell you, nobody works harder than me. And now I've got a team all across the nation and soon to be the world, helping me and my team and helping me serve my team every day.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, there's one thing you two guys have in common also is you typically work in, and you do have more luxury branded stuff, which is super helpful in getting some of those bigger volume numbers, of course. But Kim, tell me a little bit about that business. Where did you start and your price point start? And how did you get to where you are now? Because I know you do some big dollar stuff.
Yeah. So 22 years ago, my average price point was probably 135 to 150. That was in 02. In 04, I got my first crack at a waterfront on the lake that I live on, and it was 1.6 million. And it was a past client where they sold their house for 175. A divorce ensues. So I did a good job on their house for 175. So they called me to list their 1.6 million. And that was the most expensive sold on the lake at that time of 1,500 homes. So I made sure I maximized on it. Huge brokers open, marketing.
Yes.
We ended up getting it sold. And that was kind of my launching pad into luxury. I remember being terrified because it was like 8 times the average price point in our area.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe 10 times. And so I just did the best I could. And I was living on the lake at that time, but you know, a house that was like half the price of that one. And so it was a little intimidating. It was absolutely stunning. And then I just started marketing to the lake and building off of that. And then about 10 years ago, I literally had to pivot where my office was. I literally picked up and moved locations about 15 miles north to more of the luxury market because I was limited in my past city.
Yep.
You couldn't really work the east side luxury of like Bellevue, Redmond, Kirkland, where Microsoft and Google is with a South End office. So I literally stayed at the same company, changed locations so the address that showed up online was different because otherwise they weren't going to give me credibility, and started marketing, farming. A lot of it came through farming, direct mail pieces. Back then it wasn't, the internet and our social media stuff wasn't as prevalent as it is today. We were really fledgling on the internet side when I was a brand new agent. It was just getting started. So I think it's so much easier now because we have YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, all of these avenues to market our listings and to market ourselves and brand ourselves.
Right.
We didn't have 22 years ago. So honestly, I think it's easier. I think the space is a little louder because there's more competition visually, but the opportunity to scale at a mass level and get yourself out there in front of people at an economical price is a lot easier. So that's kind of how I got started. And my average price point last year was 1.1 million, 1.3 million the year before that. So that's kind of where we started and where I'm at today.
So a lot of people would say transitioning from doing average price point to luxury price point doesn't happen overnight. But in your instance, it didn't happen overnight, but it happened with one connection. And it was a matter of just staying in touch and the follow-up. And a lot of people miss the boat and they go, okay, you keep in mind, your person that bought 130, the next house is going to be 230, and the next house is going to be 5, the next house is going to be, and you literally work your clientele up if you stay in business, but you got to stay in contact. You got to do the follow-up, and you got to work those past clients extensively to be able to be there when it's ready to sell that and go buy something bigger, right?
100%.
Okay. Good. So it's overnight. You had one person.
Yeah. And now, like 2 years ago, my
10
first
years
month
of work for overnight success.
I know, isn't that funny? Well, 2 years ago, my first month at EXP, I had 2 $4 million listings. And then I double-ended both of them from an open house. No one wants to sit in an open house, but I double-ended both of them. So I hit Icon like my first month at EXP from 10 transactions and hitting over $500,000 in commission. So it was the craziest thing ever. But I mean, I never had 2 $4 million listings and then back to back. And I have one for 4.4 right now. I've got a 2.8, a 2.2. So, but then I have a 4.30 too. So I don't discriminate. Like I'm all over as far as price point.
Good. I don't discriminate. You got money, I will be there.
I'll help you spend it.
House for sale will show up.
Absolutely.
But keep in mind, there's a mentality behind that too, because a lot of people, and I remember this in 05, 06 in Florida, we had people in the office who are like, well, Russ, I'm not going to do those. I'm not touching anything under 300 anymore. And I'm like, if you don't touch something under 300, you're not going to sell anything, because the top end of that market at that point dropped and the 600s were now below 300. I said, your whole market is below 300. The only thing selling is the bottom right now. So you're going to stand there starving to death. And some of them did. And I was like, good for you for holding your ground. Like,
the least expensive I've ever done is $67,000.
Yeah.
So $67,000 is the least expensive home I've ever sold. It's a condo.
I had a $6,000 dirt lot. I had a $2,000 commission on it.
That's awesome.
I was like, hey, you got to have minimums, right? And they're like, fine. Okay, cool. I'm like, and I double-sided the thing, and I'm like, all right, here we go.
There you go.
Yeah. Take what you can get. Okay. Good. So Chad, you started off in the real estate business. Like, where did you start and where are you now? Because I know you're doing some luxury stuff and $1 million stuff too.
Yeah. So, I've been trying to work my price point up. over the past couple of years, our average price point here in Texas has been like 450, 475. So it's really been a goal of mine, and Kim's been an advocate for me. You know, we're business partners here at EXP, and she's really been an advocate in showing me how she pushed that up and how she got in contact and with these people and really kind of how to market it. And so I've really learned a lot. And just this last month, I sold one for 2.2 in one day, and did something really unique. I created a magazine, a custom magazine that was 8 pages, and I sent it to 212 people within that neighborhood. They actually arrived here this morning. So I'm super, super stoked to see how many calls I get this week to see neighbors that saw that I sold a home over 2 million in one day, and just to see what that'll stir up. But, you know, a lot of these mentors that I have in this business, and now with EXP Luxury and a lot of new things coming on, are going to be incredible tools for me to be able to change my business, where I'm going from 35, 40, 50 transactions at 450,000 to, you know, 30, 40 transactions at, you know, $1.5 million average. It'll be a very nice change of pace for me.
Yeah, nice. So you know, we get into the thought process, and you think, okay, well, what do I do? How do I do it? And I think you guys are just showing that right there. It's like you start with one, and then you get that one next one, and that's where you put the marketing, right? Yeah. So if I market 180s, I'm going to get a bunch of 180s. If I market 250s, I'm going to get more 250s. If I market 2 millions, I'm probably going to get more 2 million. So you got to be there, you got to be present, and you got to think it through. Here's my specific target market. So are you targeting a specific price point now then, Chad? Is that the goal? And then you take whatever comes, but.
Yeah. So I've located 3 neighborhoods that all have price points from $1 million to $6 million. And so we're just targeting that. But I talked to my team yesterday, and I said, what's the easiest way to get a listing? The easiest way to get a listing is to send somebody something that shows that you're a marketing genius. But if you've already sold something in their neighborhood, you already are a proven commodity there. So along with expert marketing and experience in that neighborhood, you can't go wrong. And if you send it to 212 people, I would hope that you get 5 phone calls out of it, and it's worth spending a few $1,000s to invest and really build a new business in a new area that you've always had aspirations to work in.
Yeah, so I think the key word you said there is invest, right? Because a lot of people are like, well, I'm trying to grow my business. Great. What is your budget? They don't have one. Okay, so you've got to have something that resembles a budget, whatever that looks like, to be able to move the ball forward in some level. So it doesn't always take money to make money in that regard, but there's always some type of investment. And people say, well, it's cash. I'm like, just a lot of times it's time. Mm-hmm. When you don't have money, you're going to invest time, but you've got to do that investment. Otherwise it doesn't go. Hey, Chad, did you become the fastest skater in the world overnight, or did you actually put some time in? Like the race is only this long. How many days did you train for that? 2, 3, 4?
Oh man. So I skated 175 miles a week for about 10 years in a row, and just the persistence. And that's what, you know, I always go back to thinking about how I got to where I was as an athlete. And it's no different here in real estate, where your persistence, consistency, all of those things are so important to prove that you're the best, right? Whether it's training or whether it's showing people what you're capable of, and really staying on top of these relationships in your SOI.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes down to time on task over time, right? Doing that thing every day and doing that for an extended period of time, and then it starts to work out. A lot of people are like, well, I did that once and it didn't work. I'm like, you did it 1,000 times and it'll start to work. You gave up before the plant broke the ground, right? It's right there. You just got to keep on going. So Kim, what do you do different with marketing luxury? So like I'm doing luxury stuff. What's different really between marketing? Is it the same stuff, just prettier?
Yeah, it is actually. It's, you know, and I try to up the branding on my average price points. So when people are looking at it, I'm already elevated. So, you know, I already have elevated marketing on my average listings.
What do you mean? So what do you mean by that? So you're saying if the average price point at 400, they see this kind of stuff, you're doing next level stuff for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the difference, like they're all getting drone. I'll do staging. Right. We'll do moving services. Average price point in my market now is probably 600 or 800 in the Seattle metro market. Probably 800, you know, tough to find anything under 6 you can live in. So my price points are a little higher. Their commissions are a little stronger in Texas than mine, but we know it all works out in the wash. Yeah. But, But so, full color, full bleed, 2-sided, flyers, Matterport, professional photography, drone when applicable, open houses, short little video clips, all those types of things that the average agent isn't doing. And then when I go to the luxury side, I'm in the luxury home, magazine. A couple of my neighborhoods, I have 4 magazines where I'm the inside front cover of the magazines there. I do the luxury magazine that it's nationwide. I have all of my listings in there, and it's a bi-monthly publication. So then they go into that as well. And then with EXP Luxury that we've launched this last 6 months, I'm able to elevate the additional skills and additional tools that we have there that, no other brokerage offers that we have. So it's just allowing me to take everything to the next level. I was going to touch on something a second ago. It doesn't cost any more to market to a little bit more of a luxury market. The mailing costs are the same. The print costs are the same. Yeah. So are you mailing to 300 or are you mailing to 1 million? So that was one of the things too. I strategically started moving where my target and my focus was. The $4.4 million listing I have right now, I sold the neighbor's house 2 years ago for $4 million. Yep. And I've sold 9 homes. I've sold 7 homes on that street and 1 the street up and 1 the street below. So I've sold 9 homes between $1.6 and $4.4 million in the last 7 years from farming. But part of it is them seeing you out there, seeing your signs. And they're like, oh, we know you're the go-to person on the street. So 2 weeks ago, I was at the open house Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I spent 22 hours of my own at the listing, sitting in the open houses in 3 days. And I've spent 40 hours preparing it for market, and my team spent 60. So we spent about 100 hours on site prepping that house for sale. I was packing moving trucks. I was packing boxes. I hired the window cleaner. I hired the house cleaner. I hired the carpet cleaner. I did the staging. So all of those things, everybody thinks you're just going to show up and get this, $100,000 commission. Yeah. It's not the case. Like I myself probably have 70 hours into this listing alone, just myself, not including my team. So there's a lot of work that goes into the preparation. I was there last weekend, last weekend on Sunday, and I'll be there this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, sitting it until we get it sold. So part of it is marketing myself and putting myself out there to give yourself opportunities to swing the bat. And so if you're not showing up, and sometimes you get ghosted, sometimes you double end a $4 million listing, but it's showing up and being consistent. Also, they need to see your signs in the neighborhood. They need to see that you're showing up. And then when they see your postcard in the mail and, that type of thing. So none of this is by osmosis. It's all from hard work. And so you have to show up.
I think that's the misnomer, because we see oh, look at Kim. She's got this beautiful house and she's dressed to the nines and she's out. Like, what happened before that? Like, everybody was on fire, smoke everywhere. You're like,
grubby.
Out of the way, brush your teeth, comb your hair, like stand there and look good. Right? It was all the things that got you to that moment when you pop onto that stage. But I think that's really core key, that even at your level at 80 million, you're still showing up at a really high level. I was like, well, I got a luxury house. I just put the luxury house in the MLS and let the things go. And then I sit back and eat my Grey Poupon, right?
Yeah.
No. You got to get
it was like 80, 90 degree weather. And my client had like 200-pound rock statues. I mean, we're literally loading a U-Haul on a hill. And I'm just like, what? Oh, I had a piece of wood drop on my foot, bruise my toe. Like, I have on-the-job injuries and everything. I couldn't walk for a day. It was brutal.
Pay yourself workers' comp. So I think this goes right back to the way Chad runs his world and ran his world, and he's continuing to run his world. It's like, number one, you got to show up. You got to put the work in. If you don't put the work in on the right stuff, right, Chad? So if you did 175 miles a week going 3 miles an hour, how are you going to do in the race? Like, you didn't do 175 miles a week going slow. You did some of it slow, but you did some of it at full throttle, right?
Yeah, of course. You gotta train like race day, and like the great thing about what Kim's saying is people can see that she's putting the effort into it. And I had a scenario here last week where I had window washers, pressure washers. I had a guy putting carpet in for my listing, and I was there in shorts and a t-shirt. And guess what? The 3 neighbors across the street were interested in knowing who I was and what was going on, because this house had been vacant across the street from them. And my client lives in Miami, hadn't occupied the home in a year. And guess what? I got 3 new contacts that are going to be huge fans of mine in this neighborhood where homes started $1 million. So all these things that, Kim talks about, and really showing the sweat equity behind it all is really, it's not about putting the sign. It's not about pretty pictures. It's not about all that stuff. It's a complete package that sometimes people don't see that helps you perform way better. I mean, when I was ice skating, people weren't there watching me train every day.
Yeah.
There was stuff where people weren't watching, and guess what? I had to do it anyway if I wanted to win, right? And that's how we have to do it if we want to succeed in this business.
Yeah, I think both of you guys are saying the same thing, and I keep hearing it come back to do it, get involved, get in the dirt, dig the hole, be seen doing it, and connect to people while you're doing that. Because, like, how else are you going to connect to the neighbors, right? How else are you going to connect to the neighbors if you're not there when they're outside and you're not being seen by them? And it's becoming human. It's a relationship business, right? Have you ever listed a house with somebody you didn't have a relationship with?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I have.
Well, you build a relationship.
I meet them initially sometimes, and I don't have a relationship with them, but then we become friends, or we have a relationship. And I think the more that you can serve, and this is a huge thing for Chad too, he has a huge servant's heart, but the more that you can serve and help people and get their objectives and reach their objectives and help meet them and not be above doing the hard work. Like I was there one day, and my client was, we're just sitting there. So I started scrubbing the kitchen cabinets. I'm scrubbing the windowsills. So we're talking, but I'm getting busy. So like for an hour, we're waiting for, the moving truck, the junk removal people. I'm literally wiping down all the cabinets in the kitchen. So I'm not sitting there idle on my tush. I'm working, I'm serving, I'm helping, I'm meeting my clients, and I'm not above, doing that work. And so I think, and Chad FaceTimed me when he was there at that listing, and he's outside. There's a landscaper, there was a carpet cleaner, there was a housekeeper, it was our pool guy, there was a carpet guy. I mean, he had like 5 vendors there at one time, and you had blowers going. I mean, you had car after car after car piled up, and you go from having something vacant for that long, and his client, I mean, he went above and beyond to serve his client's needs from 2,000 miles away. Not a lot of agents are willing to do that.
This home had HOA violations for the past 12 months because nobody's there. So you think Chad Hedrick's going to look like the hero because these people have $1 million plus homes with weeds growing next to them. And I will guarantee that every one of them is going to know the hard work that I put into it, because they need somebody in that community serving them like that.
Yeah. So it's popping into my head now of, like, say, okay, there's being a listing agent, and then there's concierge level listing agent, right? So like, what would we call that? Like, I've never really even thought of it in that, like, obviously you go above and beyond, and like, but there's listing agent, and then there's concierge level listing.
White glove.
I hadn't really thought about that either.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's really not a term for that. So like, people say, well, I want to be a real estate expert. I want to be an expert so that people call me to be their consultant. Because consultant's saying, take your expertise stuff and then tell me what I do with that expertise stuff. That's your consultant, right? So you're talking concierge level, white glove. Here's the misnomer about white glove, Chad. White glove is the dirtiest job in the world, right? It's like, it should be brown glove service. That doesn't sound good.
No. And it's not like us just calling Curbio, right? So we could have just called Curbio and washed our hands and walked away. But Chad and I, we're scheduling the people. We're on site. Sometimes it is Curbio, right? Yeah. But we're on site. We're doing the work. We're showing up. We're being the point person for all of this. And for Chad and I both, money out of our pocket, which it can be out of our pocket or not out of our pocket, or there's a reimbursement or part of your listing package, whatever, for going above and beyond. So when this house sells, my client's in Edinburgh, Scotland right now. Edinburgh, I think. Is Edinburgh? Edinburgh. So they're in Scotland, got there 2 days ago. So if this house closes in the next 30 days, guess who gets to get the moving and get the rest of the house packed and on the road? Me. So then I shift into moving concierge if it sells in the next 4 weeks, because they're out of the country for a month. Oh, and today, every 4 days for the next 30 days, I'm watering all of the shrubs and plants on the 1 acre lot to make sure nothing dies.
For you, it's like 90 degrees in Seattle. That's like melt your face off.
Like,
we got $120 here.
Hey, Russ, I prepaid $6,500 worth of improvements on this listing, not even knowing that I was going to get it back or not. I'm getting it back now. I just heard, but hey, that was the faith. My name is on that, and guess what? It's going to be the best product out there.
Yeah, fantastic. Talking about true next level. So for those of you out there watching this, there's parts and pieces of that you can incorporate in your business at 200, 300, 400,000 and take your business to the next level. Kim, we got about 30 seconds left.
Yes.
Last words. What do you got? Like if you're going to do anything as an agent, do what?
Whatever you do, do to the best of your ability. You're always on stage. You're always having an interview. I've gotten listings at 700-800 because my flyer of the 3 in the triangle there was the best one. So my branding, even at a average price point for our market, was 10 times better than the competition. They pulled that flyer and were like, I want to use her because it elevates not only them, but it elevates me. So whatever you do and whatever you put your name on, make sure that it represents you well as your clients.
I love that. Absolutely. Chad, last word, brother.
Hey, don't be scared to get on the phone and call people that you know and just say, hey, how can I help you? I'm in your neighborhood. I just passed by. Hey, business is good. The market's great. How can I help you or anybody you know? Don't be scared to pick up the phone.
Yeah. If you're picking up phone to connect and add value, it's way easier, right?
Yeah.
Way easier. Well, you two guys, absolutely 2 of my favorite people. Love having you here. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for being present and thank you for being awesome. I love having you guys around in my world. It's one of my favorite things in the world is having great people like you to call friends. So thank you very much for that today, guys. Be blessed. Okay.
Thank you, Russ. We love you.
All right, here we go, guys. Last up, check that out, right? 2 and 3 and 4 million. They started lower, worked their way up higher. Be seen, connect, serve, show up. Do the little things. Do that white glove concierge level listing person. You can be that at any level and then just keep taking your business to the next level and it starts to come to you. Put the effort in and the rewards will come. But put the effort in on the right stuff. All right. With that said, we've got a quick thing for EXP. 5 reasons to go to EXPCon. We're 84 days away from EXPCon taking place on October 2 through the 5th of 2023 in Las Vegas, Nevada, if you didn't already hear that one. And if you haven't heard, registration is now open for EXPCon. There are so many reasons to attend EXPCon, including you'll be on the cutting edge of innovation. This year's EXPCon is going to focus on exploring new frontiers, embracing innovation, and shaping the future. Also including exploring possibilities. Our Explore Pass was so popular at Shareholder Summit, we've brought it back for EXPCon. You have to take advantage of this if you've got somebody on the fence. This is an opportunity for you to invite one licensed agent, not currently with eXp Realty, to attend EXPCon for free. And that has worked really great on conversion from shareholders. So if you got that person on the fence, bring them along. They get a free ticket to come with you. Making connections. Connecting is my favorite part of doing EXPCon and shareholders. We learn and get inspired alongside thousands of fellow EXP agents. You guys heard Chad and Kim talking about connecting. That connection that they made and built, they're across the country, but they share ideas to take both of their businesses to the next level. It's a huge benefit of being at EXPCon. And then, of course, never stop learning. This year's event promises to provide valuable insights from industry experts and thought leaders, world-class training led by seasoned professionals, exclusive breakout sessions that go deep into topics that matter to you. It is going to be the most agent-centric EXPCon ever because it's about you guys taking your business to the next level. Book today at expcon.com, exprealty.com, expcon.exprealty.com. Man, that was easy for me to say. I only butchered that once. That's a tongue twister. All right. So while you're there, make sure you head to the accommodations tab and book your hotel early and be ready to rock and roll on that. Okay. NPS survey. You guys tell us how we did today. Hope that show was valuable to you. Thad was awesome. Amazing dude. I'm going to step off to the side here for a second so you can see my board. Also, yeah, there you go. Couple notes on the board right there for you guys. Hit that NPS survey. Let us know how we're doing. Give us a fair shake. Tell us what we're doing. Give us a rating. And let us know if there's anything else you need, guys. Also, we have Icon video coming up to say congratulations to the people that hit Icon last month. So that video is going to roll in a second. And stay tuned after that for ICONversations coming up. My name is Russ Laggan. See y'all next week.